Before we move into the detailed topic of Pure Hearts of Georgia, a little bit about the working mom inside you that came out of that, and how did you feel? Of course, there are many working moms now who have just diagnosed their child, and it's hard, to just give up the career
Definitely.
and fully
See,
sacrifice.
honestly, I will tell you this. It depends, honestly, on from family to family. It's an individual decision. So I'm not saying the working moms are not attending to their child or anything like that. They do probably double the work as I will ever do. That's what I would say, because it's too much work on them, too much stress on them, than a person who decided that okay, we can quit and try to do something else and see help my child. So the decision was a little bit easy for me, although financially it was harder for us. But that time I thought it was necessary, right? But then I would say I'm not saying everybody should make the same decision. And nowadays, the good part is back then I told you the resources and the availability of therapies were much lesser. That was one of the reasons which forced me to quit. But right now, I would say the Georgia has come a long way with state funding as well as Medicaid and everything. So we have more resources. So actually, you get like full-time therapies, private therapies, as well as even the public school has gotten better at dealing with these children. So actually, it's not a decision you need to make
Mhm.
honestly at this point anymore. You can
Absolutely. Mm.
probably give your child send your child to the right therapies and the right resources. Then you, when they come home, you can just work with him or whatever, when like just like how you would deal with a typical child, right? I mean, you do the same for a typical child too, so you will do the same for an autism child too. So there is a good advantage of how things have changed and moved now. So more and more the resources and availability is there. I would say both parents can still work and make the living as well as attend to their child. The
Definitely.
only thing I would say though is, like I always insist the parents one thing: please consider your autism child also in the part of like learning and all the teaching them skills and stuff like that, just like how you do for a typical child. Because if you ignore that, the more and more you ignore that, the therapist also will not be that interested in your child anymore. You know what I mean? So because yeah, they will keep having goals and stuff, but they will keep listening to you, like how is he doing at home? Are you working on this and all that stuff? But then if you don't show any interest, they will kind of think that, oh, okay, this is one of those parents who really, after they get home, they don't do anything with their child. They don't know what he's working on. So we'll do what we can. That's all they can do. So the child kind of, progresses in one area and but doesn't generalize at home itself. So a lot of times I see parents when they complain like, oh, he's doing very well in school and therapy, but he doesn't do anything for us at home. I don't know why. I'm like, why do you think? Because you got to work with him at home too. Because this
Absolutely.
is like a lifelong 24/7 job. It's like you're raising a child, and that too a developmentally delayed child. So
Mhm.
you need to actually work harder than how you would work with a typical child who will kind of learn things automatically.
Very
So for us, generalization is like a difficult process. It's like you kind of emphasize over and over repetitively some same concept which you will do with a typical child in probably an hour,
good.
right? You'll take like hundreds of hours to teach something. So you need to put in that effort. That's what I say. No matter you work, you don't work, it doesn't matter. Honestly, you need to invest some time with
Definitely.
your autism child. That's all my request is.
Absolutely. I mean, that is so true. And talking about families, every family is different. The situations are different. The financial needs are different. So it all depends upon the individual decisions. But if the mom has a choice and if it's comfortable for her financially, say she can definitely spend more time on the child
Exactly.
because
Yep.
the child,
See, there is nothing rewarding more than working with your own child and seeing the progress. And every time they learn something and they are proud of themselves and you are proud, is it's just priceless. There is nothing better than that you can ever earn as a mom. So I would say the same. If they have the opportunities, they should take it. At least, even if it's not for lifelong, maybe like couple of years, just spending your time with your child, or maybe just take off the summer and spend the time with your child, something like that.
I mean,
Early intervention is always better. So you need to spend time when the kid is young, okay?
yeah,
Not when he is like over your shoulder height and you are going to really teach him how to climb a stair. That's not going to happen at that point. You know what I mean? Whatever you're going to do, you do it when he's younger. But
absolutely.
then there is always learning for all of us. I mean, any age you will always learn. But there is some things we also have to consider, that we are getting old. When they get older too, along with them, we might not have the physical energy to teach him a bike riding or anything at that age. We can't teach him how to be patient with the dentist at that age. We should do it when we are younger as well as they are younger. That way, when we go through all this, like haircut, nail cut, dentist appointment, and regular doctor appointment, or I don't know, lab work, anything, I always tell all the parents, when whoever calls, please do it. Start when they are like 2 or 3 and keep doing it every year. Even if they don't have anything, just go to the dentist every 3 months. It doesn't matter if their teeth is completely fine, it's completely okay. But you are teaching them how to behave in certain circumstances and situations, and how to adapt to the society and what they require. Like in a dentist office or in an eye office, like a optometrist, what do they expect you to do? Sit there, be patient, relax, go in, don't have anxiety, and then open your mouth. They were just gonna clean and look at your teeth, and then maybe take an X-ray and send you off. Okay, and if there is a cavity, they'll fix it. Those things you start from that age, so that you don't have like a 16, 17-year-old giant 200 pounder who's gonna kick the dentist and the nurses and the people around him to get his teeth cleaned. You know what I mean? That is why I always insist, like, do it early. Whatever you do, that is what is early intervention mean. Take them to every appointment and normalize their word as much as possible from the beginning, so that in the future you don't worry like, oh my God, I should have done this way earlier, because now he wouldn't sit for a haircut. Oh, my son is sensory, it won't work. That won't. I completely understand. There are still certain kids, it's going to be very difficult for them, no matter how hard the parents try. There are always that bunch of kids who have severe sensory issues and stuff. But if for some of them, at least you can try from the beginning, when you start early from 2, 3 year olds, take them to every appointment outside, it might get better for them in the future. That's what I did for my son when he was younger, like 3. I used to take him to haircut, even though I know I can actually cut his hair without his knowledge at 3. While he's sleeping as well as when he's awake, he will listen to me better, so I can get him to do that. But I took him to a haircut place on purpose, kicking and screaming. He will actually kick and scream the moment we take that road. It was off of Hainsbridge, so I still remember he will start kicking and screaming. But then I'm like, okay, no, we are going to the haircut place and we are going to have a professional guy cut your hair. So my husband had to hold him and I had to be on top of him, and the guy will cut his hair. The whole thing will be screaming. He will actually cancel all the appointments. He'll have the appointment only for us to do that.
Very nice to hear
But
this.
now it has come a long way that, we go to great clips, any great clips, without an appointment. We wait, we get the haircut. Nobody even knows he has autism. I got to tell them that he has autism, and they would be talking to him like a normal person. Then I have to tell him he doesn't talk much, so he's not going to answer you. Like, oh, he has autism, doesn't appear so. I'm like, thank God. So that's good. He's normalized his haircut to the society now, so I can relax on that part. It's still a lot of part to work on.
Wonderful. That haircut experience was amazing to know the story behind this, the journey the child has come through. And now you have to tell people that, there is a condition at all. So that's so nice to hear. So
that is so true. Exactly. See, the more we kind of tell them, hey, this is what is expected out of you, right? It's all training, part of training. So this is what is expected to be. I know that you have your own mind and you want to do certain things. I understand that. But unfortunately, the society requires certain norms for you to behave in a certain way, so that they accept you and understand you. So unfortunately, you got to learn all this. So you have to be normal with everything. Like, you have to know how to take medicines, how to swallow medicines, how to go to bathroom and wash your hands properly, and then how to go get a haircut in a normal place. When you go to the party, how to eat properly, what to do with your dishes, how to wipe your mouth. Everything has to be taught in a conditioned way, and then go into the generalization where they are doing it in the society slowly. So you have to teach it individually and transfer the skill. That is very important for us, because that way in the future we don't have to worry and say that, oh, I can't come out of the house because my son won't be able to do this, or my son will freak out when there are like a lot of people around him. He will just start screaming, he will run away from the place. But the reason that is what happens, I see from most parents, is this: they don't do that when they are younger, because they don't like them screaming in front of everybody and get attention from everybody in the society. They're like, oh, why is this kid screaming in the restaurant? Why did they bring them to the restaurant? That's why he's screaming. He doesn't want to probably like the lights, or he has some sensory regulation issues. He doesn't like the table or maybe the people around him. So it can be anything. But then if we don't take, the more and more we don't take, what happens? The kid doesn't want it anymore. He's like, hey, I have a table at my home. I can eat peacefully there. I don't know why you're bringing me here and making me wait for half an hour for the order and then expecting me to eat this food. I don't even want to do all this. So the thing is, the fault is with us sometimes. We have to understand that it's okay for people to come and judge. It's okay. So I still take my son to PF Chang's. He will be playing with the fork, playing with the water, but it's okay. Like, people can watch as much as they want. But then when the food arrives, he's going to eat and he's going to be happy. You're like, oh, I got a great food. And then we'll go back to the restaurant again at some point. So that has become a norm, but we have to kind of teach it over the period of years, take him to small fast food restaurants where the food is immediately available, and then make them wait for some time, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Now he can wait for an hour for the food to arrive. So, but it takes a lot of challenges on our part, and you have to probably, I shouldn't be saying this, you have to be a little bit shameless. You have to be. There is no shame anymore. We have kind of sacrifice everything. Like, yeah, we want to judge me, judge me. I don't care.
Excellent. So nice to actually hear, look at that smile when you're saying that. I mean, we just sometimes have to say, I don't care. My son, he's my life, and he needs to experience the world just like how we do, just like a normal person. So absolutely, the shameless. I mean, we don't even have to consider that. So I now that we've talked about how us families we think of exploring ourselves outside. So what do you think the normal children's families, they should, how can they contribute, to be in, part of us and to involve us, just like the birthday parties, for example, just give an invitation just like any other family they would do to. So similarly, how can they involve themselves? Because I have many parents asking me, can I help? So they just want to come forward and help. So how do you think?
That was one of the main reason I had to start Pure Heart. Honestly, one of the other reason is because I know a lot of typical kids volunteers as well as parents. They are like so nice and very kind-hearted. They want to help. But what happens is there is no bridge. I mean, there is no bridge between connecting those parents with our group, right? So if I do a little official nonprofit, I thought, okay, how about we start connecting them. So that is one of the main reason we did that Pure Hearts Dream Show in 2019. So where all these typical volunteers started helping with dance and other events like fashion show, walking them in the stage and everything. So we kind of paired them up and we taught them dance and we taught them how to walk them in the ramp and how to be with them. So all those kids were there in the backstage waiting with these kids, with our kids the whole time, and patiently getting them on the stage, getting them off the stage, handing them to the parents. They did an incredible job about it. Actually, if you think about it, they have the most patience and understanding
Exactly.
than actually the parents itself, honestly, because
We must
they know
appreciate them.
they're
We
here.
must appreciate them. Yeah.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
they've
We should
not gone
appreciate
through
them.
this, they have not studied about this. At least we know it from inside because we've experienced it. But for
Yeah.
them, it's such a new concept. And for them to understand this and come forward and help, it's an amazing task, the word.
It's a great thing. They really have that understanding and compassion towards our kids. Like, okay, we need to help them because they might have some kind of special need, but they are still our peers. So that's how they treat them. They don't have what we all think about, like, oh, my son has a disability, oh, that kid has a disability. They don't have all those that much, like we have. They just consider them as a peer mostly. So one of the thing was that Pure Hearts kind of helped that connect that bridge. So now a lot of people like Eagle Scouts and other volunteers have done a lot of projects for us. So they have done like folders, which I have distributed to many parents over the years. And then we are also supplying these materials to public schools. So that has really helped. We are still in the process of making more folders and stuff like that. See, because the COVID hit, we couldn't do a lot of in-person things anymore last year. But then a lot of volunteers came online in Zoom, and they were doing fitness sessions, yoga sessions by themselves. And even now, there is one more kid who's trying to start a drawing session for the summer.
Excellent.
So the lot of kids who are in high school and middle school, they want to come and help out. So they are trying to come and volunteer with us as much as they can. So they kind of found a connection, like, okay, how to help these families. That is why Pure Hearts was important for me. But if you ask in a normal public, like, how they can help, I mean, you don't have to really do a lot. They just have to come and just check on us, right once in a while. Hey, how are you guys doing? Can I take your kid and play basketball in our driveway? Is that okay? Because they are not too, you don't want to send your kid with them without any knowledge of him too far or anything. But, I mean, there are families like that who are lucky enough to get those kind of families. But then if you're not that not there yet, you can at least ask their neighbor kids or some friends kids to come and play with him a little bit. When you say play, our kids really don't like to really play in the real sense. At least, take him for a walk in the trail or play ball with him or anything to engage him physically and mentally to while away his time, as well as have a good relationship back and forth going on, and invite him to a birthday party or invite him for any kind of, backyard party or whatever you guys have. Even though this kid cannot really mingle and socialize or probably generalize the skill he has learned yet, the more and more they do it, the repetitively, our kids learn. They're like, okay, I am expected to be this way. I have to say hello to everybody, and then maybe give a gift to this person because he invited me. So they will learn those skills eventually. They will get there, but it's going to take a lot more repetition than any other normal kid. That's the only difference. But they would like to be included. The inclusion is a major part
Definitely.
of any kind of autism, to be
Absolutely.
honest.
And when you were saying about checking on, it's also checking on the parents sometimes,
That's
uh,
true.
because
Yeah.
I'm really thankful for so many people who are checking on me. And I think the same is with you as well. They just call and say, hey, how are you? Let's just talk. And we just talk for 30 minutes on some crappy topic, something.
Exactly. No, that is very important. I mean, see, that's one thing I've seen with many parents. I met another mom like last week. I went to her home. She was so happy because they have not met people in a long time. I can't believe it, but they got a nice 6-year-old girl, and she's very beautiful. And she got diagnosed, and they said because of her behaviors and stuff, and her sleep issues and everything, they're not being socializing enough. And they also have a 3-year-old cute daughter who is normal, and she doesn't have any social life because of this whole situation right now. So she was also happy to see people. It's like, oh, people, like we're not aliens, we're just people. So, but but the thing is, they were so happy, like, oh, there are people who come and see us. I'm like, guys, you have to socialize. You can't just be aloof and then expect the community to come and just ring your bell and say, hey, you guys exist or no. That's not going to happen like that. You got to come out a little bit, talk about yourself a little bit, go to some place and talk, connect with people. What I would say is, even if you can't connect with the typical community, I get it, because it's very difficult. Some of the people cannot understand exactly what we are going through. They cannot put themselves in our shoes, even though you explained your situation to them. It's hard for them sometimes. I get it. But then, how about connecting with our own community? There's a big autism community right here, so you can talk to similar parents who have similar age kids and connect with each other and keep meeting each other. That's still a good relationship. So what I'm looking forward is, like, how about I put everybody in one group? I can do that, which I've been doing. We have several WhatsApp groups, we have Facebook groups, everything. So we'll do that. But then you guys try to find a commonality. If I connect with few people and then try out and see how it goes, and offer some babysitting to another family. One day that husband and wife can go out somewhere where you watch their child, and then same thing can happen the other day with your family. So why don't you take turns, babysit the child on a weekend, or maybe at least for a couple of hours, so they get a break, and then they can offer the same to you. And meanwhile, the good part which is happening is, how that child too now, and that family knows your child. In case of any emergency, they can be the backup. That is how the backup forms. Okay, it doesn't happen just because you cry and scream one day, oh, my husband is in a hospital, my wife in the hospital, just send me a backup. God, it's not going to come flying down like, oh, okay, here is my backup. But that's not going to happen. Okay, so you have to make an effort from day one. That's what I would tell all the families. Make an effort to find a backup, as well as a close good relationship of friends who are in similar situation like you. Then it's not going to be that odd to begin with, because they will understand your child's behaviors and all the anxieties they have, all the stims they have. They will get it. because they have a similar child to begin with. So there is no judgment there, I mean, if they still want to judge, that's a different thing. But you know what I mean? Mostly they won't judge because they know the situation you are in, and they can kind of empathize with you since they are in the same shoes.
Sure. Yeah, you are like creating a platform. It's a great thing to connect people, because sometimes two different people are in two different directions. If they connect together, a lot of thoughts can be shared. It could be similar thoughts, one can help the other person. So you're just creating a platform. It's nice to see. And Anandhi, you're such a humorous person. The way the way you talk, it's just gave me so much laughter, and that's how we have to lead life with. I think
Oh, we have to, if we don't laugh at ourselves and make these silly jokes, we can move ahead, okay, with our life.
definitely. Yeah,
You got to look forward for something to do that day. You can't really be like, oh, it's the same life I lead every day. It's my same son.
definitely.
It can't be like that, right? I mean, we need to challenge ourselves and do something better than what we did yesterday.
There
So
is
that's
so much positivity that I'm seeing in your face, and the way you
yeah.
talk. You bring in so much positivity among people, and this is how it should be. So I want to really see so many Anandis like you, and everywhere.
I would love to too. Honestly, we need a lot of people who actually go and do stuff for others and then socialize and help the community form. Because I'll tell you this, and what I realized in my journey, no matter how many organizations we form, no matter how many small groups we have and everything, we're still going to require more because there are a lot more kids
Yeah,
whose diagnoses are still coming. I mean, it's
and this
endless.
is such a global topic. I mean, we are talking
It's
here
a
in
global
Georgia,
problem right now.
but it's a
It's
global
there
problem.
in India, it's there in Malaysia, everywhere. There are a lot of kids, and we have no answers about how many of these kids are going to have a real future without any issues. We don't even know that. It's like a global problem. And we don't know how many of them are going to really be able to lead a real independent life. With the resources they are going to get, it's going to be a little difficult for everybody to lead a functional life. That's what we are also worried towards. So at least my point is, at least let's connect with each other, support each other. At least we will get some backup, but then eventually we will go with what we can in the future, whatever is available we can. Otherwise, guess what, guys, create the future. That's it. Join the kids together, put them in group homes, and you are comfortable with that kid because you have been seeing him from childhood. So both have grown up together. Let them live together, and then put a caregiver for monitoring, for supervision, so they can come and supervise them, but they can live in a home together. Something that is why these relationships are very important. You don't want him to live with someone in the future which he has never, nobody knows who that is, and which he has never seen so far. But at least he has a comfort, or she has the comfort. Hey, I have known this kid from my childhood, even though I haven't really interacted and socialized or with him and communicate with him, I'm very comfortable with this kid being around. So even you are comfortable as a parent, like, hey, that kid is pretty nice. Those parents are like us, they have done a lot for that kid too. So actually, we would be happy to share the space with them. That is what we have to think about. So if
I mean,
that
yeah,
future doesn't happen, we
this
create.
reminds me of the famous quote: "When you don't find the sunshine, you be the sunshine." That's all.
Exactly. That is so true.
You just give light to that. That might be helpful for someone somewhere. I mean, you're for the 200 families you're talking about, it would be a ray of hope. The way they connect with each other. It's just a relaxation place. It's a support system they need for one another. So it's very, very nice to know about these families. What they're going through, and it's a support they get from this organization. We have a lot of good things to talk about. Pure Hearts of Georgia, definitely. And thank you so
I
much.
have to thank you, Anu, for the opportunity and taking your time and effort to spread the awareness. This is really important that many people are aware of this whole situation of what we are going through. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Anandhi.